Hi friends, this is Christina Salazar. Today we're going to make the pipe cleaner Christmas tree from the Mesquite Arts Center. The Mesquite Arts Center gave me pipe cleaners, chopsticks. You might have gotten either one of these. If you have this taller one, you can cut it down to size. They gave me this wooden base, but again, you might have gotten a different wooden base or a different base. It doesn't make a huge difference which base you got. You could also cut a circle out of cardboard. We have these pom-poms for ornaments, and I got a fairy light set to decorate my tree. You'll need to supply scissors, hot glue, I have a hot glue gun here, a ruler, and a pencil. All right, so the first step is to glue this chopstick to the center of the wooden base. And this is where you need your hot glue. And hot glue does get hot. All right, so I'm putting a little dab of hot glue on. Hold it on there till it sticks. Your next step is to take this piece of paper and you're gonna roll it into a cone, into a Christmas tree shape, basically. Hot glue's cooled off a little, so it's tacky. All right, so I'm gonna roll this into a cone. I'm gonna start at the corner, kind of rolling it. If you can see, I'm already trying to make kind of a Christmas tree shape. I'm not making a cylinder, I'm trying to make a Christmas tree shape. You see? Now I'll need to glue this cone together so that it stays a cone. Again, I'm just holding it for a second for it to cool off. If you want your tree a little shorter, you can cut that one down also. All right, so this is what it's eventually gonna look like. Okay, I need to trim the bottom off. As you can see, it's a little too long right there. So I'm gonna take my scissors once I'm sure this glue is dry. And I'm gonna trim the bottom. All right. Strings of hot glue. All right. So now I have the base for my tree. All right. The next thing you're gonna do is grab your pipe cleaners. I'm gonna grab green, but you can make your tree whatever color you want. But I'm just gonna make the traditional green pipe cleaner. All right, the first step is to fold it in half. Okay. Cut that in the middle. Very easy to cut. Then you're gonna cut this again, fold and cut again. We want them a little smaller than that. So I've cut each pipe cleaner into 4 equal pieces, into fourths. All right. Each one of these, you're going to bend into a U. All right, and so now I'm just gonna do that many, many more times. I'm gonna take all of these green pipe cleaners and turn them into fourths and then turn them into little U's. All right, so I've made all of these little green pipe cleaners. These are gonna turn into my branches. So you can use the green, or you can use pink and white, you can use all pink, you could use red, white, and blue, whatever Christmas tree you want. This is a good time to check if this is the height that you want it to be. My tree is a little tall. If you notice, it's not really sitting correctly on the strip. I want it to be a little bit more like that. So I'm gonna cut it down a bit. All right, mostly even. Christmas tree. Let me test this height. So I can always cut the stick down too. I need to cut a little bit more off. All right, I've got the height I want, Christmas tree. Now I've got to bend all of these into U's. They're all going to be this little U shape. All of your leaves. All right, I have all my leaves made. I have my tree at the height I want it. Now you need your ruler and your pencil. What we're gonna do is mark off the placement of the leaves. And we want them about 1 inch up. All right, so I'll need to look at it over here. You're gonna start with a small mark like this one, and you're gonna go around, all the way around at that 1 inch mark until you have a straight line all the way around the tree. All right, you might be able to see this ring that I've created. You see, it doesn't have to be perfect, but about 1 inch around. Now I'm gonna do the same thing 1 inch up from that. We're gonna do that all the way to the top. So now I've got 2 rings, each about 1 inch. We're gonna do it all the way up to the top. So for the height tree that I wanted, it's 6 lines. And these are going to indicate where I should stick my little leaves, my U's. Again, I'm using my hot glue gun. I'm making a little strip. And I'm gonna glue leaves. I used my pencil line to know where to put the hot glue and to know where to stick the leaves. All right, I've placed leaves all around the bottom, or pipe cleaners really. I'm gonna do that on every line up my tree until I finish covering the tree in these green pipe cleaner leaves. All right, my tree is done. I'm pulling off some of these hot glue strings. I'm gonna do more of that once it cools off at the top. I want to make sure these pieces get stuck before I mess with it too much. The next thing I want to do is take my tree trunk and I'm going to add brown pipe cleaner around it so that it looks more like a tree trunk. And this you can just twist it on. You do not have to glue it on. So I just get the bottom on there nice and tightly, and then I can just twist this around. And I actually have 2 shades of brown, so if you wanted to, you know, kind of candy cane those 2, you could do that. And to keep it kind of classic Christmas tree today. And wrap this around. Just gonna use one, wrap it up a bit to give it a trunk look. I'm holding the base steady so that I don't unglue it. There we go. Again, less perfect at the top because I know that part's gonna be covered up. All right, now I'm gonna put my tree on. You see, it's all covered up. If you'd like, you can go in and fill any areas where you can see through. I used a green paper, so I'm okay with some of the paper showing through. Also, I'm going to fluff these leaf pipe cleaners up at the end, so I'm okay with some of the green showing through. If you're buying your own paper, it's a pretty thick cardstock type paper, so you couldn't just use regular printing paper. You'd need to use cardstock. All right, so we are done with this piece. So what we're gonna do next is grab our fairy lights provided by the city right here and wrap those around. We're starting to decorate our tree now. Just gonna unwrap them gently. Fairy lights, a gentle touch. All right, got them untied. I'm gonna wrap it around gently. You wanna reach the bottom, you're gonna glue this in here like that. With the hot glue, you're gonna glue the lights in like this. They are actually lit, but it is a little bright in here to see. So I'm gonna hot glue directly onto the bottom of the casing, this electrical unit. And that'll go inside the tree. And I can fix my lights how I want them to be. We are going to use our glitter pipe cleaner to make a star for the top of the tree. I'm gonna start with a triangle, right? This looks like kind of a big 4. Fold it across again. I took that too far this way. Use the other side. And then I'm going to lift this bottom up to make it more of a star shape. All right, star shape. And I'm going to glue this. Once I get it to the shape that I like, I'm going to glue it to the top of the tree. Star on top of my tree. Still want to adjust the lights a bit, but you can continue doing that to your preference as you go. Now I'm going to glue on these pom-poms around like ornaments. I'm happy with the number of ornaments that I have, but you put as many as you want on your tree. Now, I'm gonna let those dry for a minute before I clean up some more of that hot glue and fluff up my leaves. But while I do that, I can make a candy cane ornament. I'm gonna cut the red and the white into these smaller sizes again, into fourths. Then I'm gonna twist them together. You can see I've almost got the candy cane made. Bend the top over. And I've got a candy cane to decorate my tree. I'm gonna make the rest of my candy canes while I let everything dry up a bit. You could also use the red to make Santa hats, any kind of decoration you would like to put on your tree. All right, I've got my candy canes made, but first I'm gonna fluff up my leaves a little bit. So what I'm doing is, while I'm holding the top down of each pipe cleaner, I'm just going around and flipping them up a little bit. This doesn't have to be all of the leaves. Just be careful when you're flipping it up that you don't unglue the leaf. If you do unglue it, we have more hot glue. You can just glue it back on. So going around and fluffing up my tree a bit. All right, we're almost done. And I can hang my candy cane ornaments on these leaves that I've fluffed. And there we have it, a Christmas tree. Thank you for watching this craft with me today. Be sure to follow the Mesquite Arts Center on social media and to get signed up for the newsletter so that you can be informed when their craft kits come out every month.